Maybach music.
Welcome back to another Everyman Movie Critic. As always, it's me, Johnny B, and
I'm Scott.
this guy, Mr. Personality. So this week we're going to talk about, for the third time, football movies. And this is the third recording of this because Johnny B is a knucklehead and forgot to turn the mic on last time.
So welcome to the Super Bowl preview.
Which takes place after the Super Bowl. Because I should have we recorded it Saturday before Super Bowl. And again, I don't know. So anyway, alright, so we're going to talk about football movies. Successful ones. There's pretty much not a bad football movie out there. Pretty much everybody loves football, and they've all been pretty much critical successes for the most part. So we really can't have too many disagreements on this one. Bummer. The first one, and it's because my favorite actor, one of my favorite actors is in it, Mr. Al Pacino, and that was Any Given Sunday with his "Football is this game of inches" speech. And if you haven't seen it, you should. It's a great movie. It's got a lot of good cast. We can talk about Jamie Foxx, which we didn't talk about in the skit comedy actors who have made it.
Berkeley.
She's not a skit comedy actor. She was in Saved by the Bell, but that's a child star that we could talk about. That
I wasn't talking
really
about that. I was just talking about people that were in there.
Okay, Elizabeth Berkley, yes, she was in it. She played a hooker.
Lawrence Taylor.
Big surprise. She had like a theme, like she was in Showgirls, which she was technically a hooker, and she played a hooker actually before that too. She was like a stripper who went to Vegas.
Yeah.
And now she plays a hooker who was trying to hook up with
She's a very high end.
Yeah. All right, so Al Pacino. Then you got Jamie Foxx, Dennis Quaid, who played like a Tom Brady-ish, Joe Montana.
Tom Brady wasn't even thought of when this movie was out.
I know, but he's playing the same. He was in the NFL back then.
He might have been. It's just he wasn't like Joe Montana. This guy was more Joe Montana than Tom Brady, I think.
Well, it's definitely it's kind of a tragic tale with him. He needed to retire, and his wife didn't want him to, and it was really sad. Then you had Lawrence Taylor, who pretty much played himself in that movie. He was
awesome.
A man who should have retired and just kept it in there for the money and to make his bonuses, and at least he got out of there in real life in enough time. Then you got Bill Bellamy, who did a really good job. Then you got your atypical, like all the same people who are all in the same football movies. The guy who was in The Program, and he was in Necessary Roughness, and he was in, I can't think of he played Zangief in the Street Fighter movie. Guys, if you know what actor I'm talking about, please leave it. He's that big, muscular guy who's like in all the football movies. He might have even been in I don't know. But I know he was in The Program and Necessary Roughness, as well as Any Given Sunday. So this guy really has a thing for football movies. I mean, you pretty much typecasted at that point.
I've probably seen him. I just don't recognize him.
He's the guy who had to take a crap when they had the IV in him on Any Given Sunday. And the guy had to go in the stall with him. Matthew Modine played the doctor.
Oh.
The intern. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
James Woods was the doctor who was an asshole, and then he had to go in the bathroom. He's like, I gotta empty my pipes, and he ran in, and he had to go in with him, and he's like, when he's taking a crap.
I remember that scene now.
Yeah. That was disgusting. All right, so we'll talk about Scott's favorite one now, Varsity Blues. James Vandergeek and or AKA Dawson.
Varsity Blues is by far my favorite.
Dawson Creek.
To me, Varsity Blues is kind of like if you're watching for basketball. For basketball it'd be Hoosiers. For wrestling it would be Vision Quest. Yes.
Matthew Modine again.
Those are very good movies, and they inspire you. And when I call inspiring, it's like for wrestling. I was a wrestler in high school, and that movie was inspiration for us. Basketball, Hoosiers, I've been
Gene
told
Hackman,
is a very good movie.
Who was actually in the next one that we're going to talk about, The Replacements.
And Varsity Blues, I feel is the same.
I think Gene Hackman likes playing coaches for teams that are underdogs.
Very good.
Because the Hoosiers of the basketball world, high school basketball, which we could do a whole series on.
Yeah, we can do that later. But
The Replacements was a good one because Keanu Reeves is an awesome actor. I love him.
We forgot to talk about Billy Bob and Varsity Blues and everything in that.
Well, we got to make time. We can't talk about everybody. Billy Bob Thornton was definitely.
He was
wasn't
not in Varsity Blues. Billy Bob.
He was in Friday Night Lights.
Billy Bob is one of the main characters in. You do that. You don't seem to remember that. Billy Bob was the big heavy guy who was.
I wish you guys could know how
himself.
many times we shot this video, and we're finally getting it.
And Billy Bob is one of the main characters in there. He was the offensive lineman that passed out and caused the main guy to get sacked.
I just remember they took over their football team because the coach, they kicked him out. John Voight or whoever played there. It was John Voight, right?
I think it was John Voight. Yeah, they played
their a-hole coach out because he was ruining their team, and then what's his name broke his leg. Paul Walker, who is now deceased.
Paul Walker broke his leg because Billy Bob
passed
out.
Okay.
And because he passed out in the field, he got sacked and broke his leg.
Wow.
That's part of the biggest part of the story, actually.
And then he was the one coaching their team at the end of the movie. And I think they won the game.
Yes.
All right, so we have The Replacements. That's another good one.
Yes.
Away, 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 away.
That was very good. You had some very good actors in that.
John, I can't think of the guy's name. That played. He was
the kicker.
He was in. He played Dr. Connors in Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man. He played Lizard.
But I mean, he's just not. He's a good actor in that. He did a great job in that. But
Gene Hackman.
You got the Asian guy that
I don't
linebacker guy.
I don't remember all the characters.
He was the funniest. With the referee imitating.
I just remember they got a bunch of strippers to play the cheerleaders because all the cheerleaders, part of the strike, and everything else. All right, so now we'll go to a serious one. The Program.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good one. That was another one where it showed a real, true depiction of football and college football and the pressure that they put on. And you were mentioning the first couple times we recorded this, where they had to cut out a scene from that movie.
I never saw that scene.
I remember seeing it in the theaters where the quarterback, he wanted to show his team what kind of pressure he's under, so he walked down the middle of the highway. Now, don't try this at home, kids. He walked down the middle of the highway in the heavy traffic, and they laid down on the double lines.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess people either got killed from trying it,
or
getting injured or hit or arrested or whatever. Yeah. So they had to remove that from the theatrical. I don't know if they removed it from the theatrical release, and they put out a new edit. But definitely it was not in the Blu-ray, it was not in the VHS, and it wasn't in the Laserdisc, which I had.
Yeah, they cut it completely out. They couldn't have it anymore. Who was the quarterback in The Replacements?
I can't think of the guy's name, but he's not one of those big actors, but he's like that guy from That Thing, he's like always, he's in the smaller bit parts here and there. And
what movie was Keanu Reeves the quarterback?
Replacements.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, we're talking about The Program.
Yeah, I said who was in the quarterback for The Replacements?
Oh, that's Keanu Reeves.
Okay, and so then Scott Bakula was in Necessary Roughness. Yep.
And that's the next one we're going to talk about. That's another good one where it shows a more comedic side to it, and it's another one where, again, there's a controversy and the team has to go bye-bye because they weren't getting their grades, and they had to recruit all these other people to play.
Kathy Ireland.
Who's
a better kicker, Kathy Ireland or the guy from The Replacements?
Leave a comment below. Who's got sexier legs? I say Kathy Ireland on that one. And she did a couple movies back then. She did Alien from L.A., which was a big, huge cult classic movie now, but it's a flop because she won the cover girl from Sports Illustrated swimsuit, so that was part of the deal to be in a movie
with Roddy Piper.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I swear I saw her in one.
Don't swear because we're not swearing on this channel.
But
all right, let's go on.
Necessary Roughness had Scott Bakula in it.
Tangent. Scott Bakula. You had
Sinbad.
Robert Loggia, Sinbad.
That was the one that had the Asian guy that where the referee.
You had the guy, the Samurai.
Samurai. That's what I was talking about. I didn't mean that for Replacements. I meant that for this one.
Samurai. He was awesome. He wasn't Asian. He was a white guy.
But
he was a military guy who kicked the crap out of everybody. He was their defensive line. Remember?
Yeah.
He came out and just kicked the heck out of everybody.
Yeah, and
then they blew the whistle, and the referee was like,
"Yeah, that's what I meant."
That was awesome.
That
cracks me up every freaking time I see that. I'm dying when I watch that. And Rob Schneider was the announcer.
Mm-hmm. Necessary Roughness to me is the football version of Major League.
Okay, I give you that. The Replacements kind of was too.
It is, but not as much as Necessary Roughness. Yeah,
it was the same premise. They were replacing the old team because of they had to, and same with Necessary Roughness, they had to replace the old team with people who were not in scholastic trouble.
Replacements maybe Major League 2, but
my God,
the Roughness was Major League 1 maybe.
We'll talk about baseball movies another time.
Another
I definitely like the Major League. Now there's 2 versions of this one. Burt Reynolds was in both of them.
Yep. Reprised his role.
No, he didn't.
Kind of.
No, it was a different character.
It was
The
the
Longest
same
Yard
but
with Adam
different
Sandler
name.
was in the 2005 version, and then in the 70s it was with Burt Reynolds. And I was really worried about that because, again, it's comedic actors in there and real football players and wrestlers, and they just had a big hodgepodge of Terry Crews and Goldberg and Stone Cold Steve Austin and Kevin Nash and everybody. And they just did a great job. And I was so worried that they were not going to have, or they were going to keep the scene where caretaker dies. I hated that scene. I always have to fast forward. It makes me cringe.
I still think that
But Chris Rock pulled it off well.
Same.
What?
He's different name, but he's the same character.
His name was Crew.
But he just
And he played the coach. He used to be in prison, yes, but he played the character that the old guy played in the original one too, where the guy said, "What did you do?" He's like, "Oh, I remember." He had to talk with the guy at the end. He said, "What did you do?" He said, "Oh, I stabbed the warden or whatever," and he got a longer sentence because he didn't care, and that's what made him just change his mind to not throw the game and win it. And they did the same premise in Longest Yard with Adam Sandler.
Mm.
All right, so next we have some movies that are not really football
Friday
movies.
Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights was good, yes. Billy Bob Thornton and him and that kid from Sling Blade was the quarterback. Where they
Friday
played
Night
together in
Lights
that.
was a very good movie. It was
Then
a
it
much
did
better TV show.
Yep.
The TV show is very good. If I recommend you watching that if you like football. It's very good.
Yep. Then you got Remember the Titans
Mm-hmm.
and We Are Marshall.
Yeah, Remember the Titans and We Are Marshall are
Oh,
kind
you
of
added
like
that.
they're kind of like the they're not the same movie, but they're kind of in the
How
same
did you
premises.
make your handwriting look like mine?
I don't know,
Anyway,
but
but Remember the Titans, that was Denzel.
yep,
But by then they were just cookie cuttering some of those movies
Yeah.
where there's like a true story about an underdog
Mhm.
team who had to learn to work together and fight the odds.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was a
And
little
they're still-
repetitive, but how they deliver it what made the difference.
Remember the Titans has the
And
dance,
that's a Disney movie too.
and it's also the white guy in there is kind of funny, the receiver.
I don't remember anything of that. All right, so another one of them that was not showed much football, Jerry Maguire. I still like it because what's his name? Tom Cruise is amazing and he's an amazing actor.
It's a very good movie, but it's definitely
Cuba Gooding Jr. won an Academy Award for it.
I definitely don't think that is a football.
Show me the money speech. Come on, now
Yeah.
show
I mean,
me the money.
Jerry Maguire to me is like an HBO show called Arliss that was on before that. It's about a super agent. Yeah, it's a super agent,
Okay.
and that's basically what the movie's about. It's not really about football. I mean, there's a little bit of football in it, but not much.
I know who was in it. I saw the show on HBO. HBO had a thing for
Sandra
football
Oh.
shows.
Was it?
No,
Yes, she was.
I don't know.
You know who Sandra Oh is, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And you forgot to talk about Rudy.
I didn't forget about anything. We're still talking about ones that are not really about. The Draft is another version
Yeah.
of that where it was not really football. It was more behind the scenes of the
I've
draft.
never seen that.
And Kevin Costner does an amazing job. Dennis Leary plays the coach from the team. Frank Langella is the owner of the team, and he does a good job. Jennifer Garner is like their finance, and they have like it just has a good story and underlying, between Jennifer Garner and Kevin Costner's character, who is way too old to be with her, even for that movie. I was like, really? And Dean Cain was in it. He was a quarterback.
You said he was in another movie as a quarterback too.
Yeah, it was that Steve Martin movie, Cheaper by the Dozen. He played his son, who was a quarterback, who liked playing football. So I guess he had
Cheaper by the Dozen. Okay, they made a couple of them, right?
Yes.
Okay, now I know what that is. Yeah, that was
Cheaper
like
by the Dozen
the
was
funny
Steve Martin.
comedy. It's a comedy.
Yes, where he had 12 kids. And then the
Yeah.
second one, they went to camp, and there's another one from.
I don't.
I'm gonna leave a card above for the skit comedy actors, but Steve Martin and Eugene Levy worked together in the second one, and they did a really good job. And then they worked together in Bringing It on the House.
Remember Little Giants
That's a-
with Rick Moranis? That was
Yeah.
a funny football movie.
Okay. That is part of the list. I mean, there's guys. If you go on IMDb, it's going to give you the list of the 50 greatest football movies of all time, and you're going to see a ton more than we're going to talk about. But Jerry Maguire, The Draft, Radio is not really. Well, yeah, they
Radio
do
and
show more
Rudy
football.
are both kind of.
Rudy, yes, it's more about a person that was
person.
rooting for them, and Rudy actually ends up getting to play for the last 10 seconds of the big game, and yes, the movie did pump up the drama and then change some things for dramatic sake, like the fans went crazy when he went on the field, which never happened, and he did get carried off by the team, and none of the players ever tried to hand in their jersey. That never happened.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't.
They're not that stupid.
Yeah.
But the coach had every intention of playing him anyway.
Yeah.
They knew that was going to happen. But yeah, so Rudy. Then you got ones like who are based on real people again, like Invincible. That was with Mark Wahlberg.
That was very good.
Where he went to join
Philadelphia
Eagles. He was a walk-on player.
And
because they wanted to recruit like normal people and see if they could find any talent.
I think he played like 5 seasons. He didn't play very long. He didn't do much in it, but he made the team, and it was a very good movie. He did a very good role of that. From what I understand, he actually was just like Vince from that made the team.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I saw the movie. I remember seeing it. It's another. It was one of those Disney football movies.
Yeah, that was.
They love doing
fantastic.
sports.
That was
sports movies, true sports movies, Cool Runnings.
What's the Rock movies that were football?
Gridiron Gang.
Gridiron Gang. And
where it's another coach who coaches a team.
Then there's another one too.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
I forgot what it was. I thought somebody asked us about that, but yeah.
Game Plan.
Game Plan, is that what it was? Okay, I don't know if I've seen them, but
Yeah, The Rock liked to do some of those missteps in his
player.
career. Well, yeah, that's how he started with Miami.
Yeah.
I know. And then he made it huge. And we did a video on WWE wrestlers, and we mentioned The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we have some other ones that were not necessarily about football. Heaven Can Wait. That's with Warren Beatty, excuse me.
I don't
where he played a guy who died, and then he got reincarnated as a millionaire, and he wanted to for some reason he got to remember who he was before, and he wanted to buy the team and then play as the coach or the quarterback again. And
I don't see that as
used his money to buy the team and everything.
I just don't see that as a football movie that much
Well,
either.
it kind of was, only because he was a quarterback.
Yeah.
But then you have movies like The Best of Times. That's a great Robin Williams, Kurt Russell movie back in the 80s, where Robin Williams wants to replay a game where he dropped the ball.
It's
and
like Featherstone.
And yeah. Oh yeah, we had that talk where he caught it right in his forehead. Necessary Roughness. Yeah. So anyway, The Best of Times, yeah, that's a great movie. If you like Robin Williams. See, that's what this channel's all about, folks. It's all about the love of movies, watching movies, enjoying movies for what they are. Stop listening to critics. Just go and just listen to me. Don't listen to me. Just go enjoy movies. That's all I ask. And tell me about them and tell me your experiences with movies, especially football or any other category you guys want to. Leave a comment below. Wildcats is another one that was about football, and it was another one of those 80s comedy football movies which were done to deathbed. And then Goldie, is that her name? Goldie Hawn?
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of Kurt Russell, I mean, that's his wife, or not wife, but life partner.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in Best of Times. So apparently they must have talked and said, hey, how about you do a football movie
Very
too?
well could have, yeah.
I mean, they were right around the same time, and she played a coach.
Yep. It was a decent movie for as far as that. Yeah, you before you mentioned that it was a movie where she didn't want to be the coach, and she ended up being the coach. And
she did a lot of those kind of movies back then, where she was thrown into situations she didn't want to do. She did Private Benjamin. She definitely didn't want to be in the army.
They made that a TV show.
Yeah, that was a great. We're gonna talk about that in a minute.
I know.
Leatherheads. That's the last one we're gonna talk about. That was the one where football started, and how the NFL kind of got its beginnings. Is George Clooney was in it. It was back when they were just wearing those leather helmets, and it was just all about Iron Man football back then. Anyway, there was never two teams. It was just one team playing everything, like Necessary Roughness.
No, they went out and played like you would if you were playing school tackle football.
Yeah, it was just the beginnings of organized sports back then, for football anyway. Because NFL is football is one of the longest running sports in our country next to baseball. It's pretty much neck and neck, and when they started in the 20s, roughly. We're going to actually do some movies about baseballs. Yeah, baseball and basketball.
During the World Series, the NBA Finals.
There you go. Oh, Kobe Bryant. That was a sad thing.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so that's gonna wrap it up for this week's episode for talking about football movies. So if you like
Super Bowl preview.
there you go. That's already passed. So spoilers: the Chiefs won.
Yes, they did.
Anyway, so thank you for tuning in. If you like what you saw and you want to see more great content, make sure you subscribe. Hit the like button. If you didn't like it, you can still like anyway because it's free. Let me see if we can get up to 20 likes this time. Yeah, so hit the notification button for new videos. We're going to try to post 1 or 2 a week until we get up to more and more, content and get a bigger library. And always leave a comment below. Tell us what you thought of the content. If you wanted to hear about other sports movies, ones we missed that you want us to talk about in a future video, or even just make mention and have a nice conversation about it in the chat below. So anyway, all right. As always, we'll see you guys next time.